What's going on, man? It's your boy Jay Holley, and we are back for another episode of Unfiltered with Jesse Holley. I am Jesse Holley, the sports talk equivalent of Braille. People feel me when I speak. Thank you. You are far too kind. You could have been anywhere in the world, but I am so glad you are here with me for episode 70, right? 70. We might have to do like some champagne or some grape juice for episode 100. That's gonna be interesting, man. Make sure you like, you subscribe, you tell a friend. I want to be in the family group chat. I want to be in the girls group chat. I want to be in the fellas group chat. I want to be in the church small group chat. I want to be at your work group chat. I want to be everywhere. I want to be everywhere in all of the group chats. So you make sure you put me in there, like, subscribe, hit me up on all of the things on Fanatic Views, on Unfiltered with Jesse Holley, at Mr. Fourth and Long on Twitter. Make sure you like, subscribe, podcast, all that kind of good stuff. Apple, Spotify, everywhere where you find and get your podcast from. You guys know how I like to get down. I like to get my motivation at the beginning because let's be honest, some of you are not going to be here at the end because I'm not for everybody, and that's okay. You don't have to be for everybody too. But here's what I got off the top. Put limits on who you talk to and what you talk to them about. Everybody who is in your life doesn't want good for you, and everybody who's clapping doesn't want to see you win. For your own mentals and dentals, you should limit who you talk to. And what I mean by that is you shouldn't just want everybody in your circle. You shouldn't want your aura to be impacted. As I've gotten older, I'm not into all of like the chakra type stuff. I do believe in energies though. Like I do believe that people can come around you and drain maybe this is just me, but you ever just be sitting around in a good mood and your phone rings and it's somebody who you're like, God, what is this? Don't answer it. I don't care if it's mama, daddy, grandma, auntie, uncle. If they make you feel like that, do not answer the phone. If you're in a good mood, in a good place, and that person wants to come in and change the energy you got going, don't answer that phone. Don't talk to them. If that person walks in the room, get up and walk out. We got to do a better job at protecting our mental health, our energies, you don't have to. And then, Lord, please don't, you got to stop telling everybody all your business. You got to stop telling everybody all your business. Half of them don't care. The other half don't want to see it actually prosper. So the more you share these things, the more people have insight on you. That's how they hurt you. That's how they derail you. Just sometimes find your group, find your tribe, find your small group, find those that you vibe with and stick to that. I don't care if it's blood or not. Don't let everybody talk to you, man. Limit those people. I promise you, mentally, you'll be in a much better space. All right, man, let's get into this thing. Cowboys get a victory this past Thursday. They had the very odd Thursday night game that they normally don't have a lot of time. This is the first time the Cowboys in franchise history played a Thursday night game on 4 days rest. Normally they usually play like the Thursday before and play, but they played it on first time in franchise history in all the years of the Cowboys. First time they done that. They had a 15-20 victory over the New York Football Giants, and while it was a positive win for the Cowboys because they needed it, the noise was getting very loud in the building. It was getting extremely loud in the building. And they needed a win. They needed a win to keep folks at bay, to keep the fans kind of from storming the White House. They were going to storm AT&T Stadium. So they get this win over the New York Giants. And it wasn't pretty. But it was a win nonetheless. But unfortunately, sometimes when you go to battle, you lose more soldiers than you're really able to. And the Cowboys go into this game getting a much-needed victory to calm the noise of the crowds. They were on a 2-game losing streak where they've gotten blown out, even though the Baltimore game was a 3-point game. They lost 2 of their biggest soldiers. Coming out of that game, the Cowboys lost Micah Parsons and Tank Lawrence, DeMarcus Lawrence. DeMarcus Lawrence, probably the worst of the 2. They're calling it a mid-foot sprain or Liz Frank injury. I'm no doctor. Call it whatever the hell you want. He hurt. And that one right now seems to be between 4 and 8 weeks. Mike McCarthy spoke earlier today, and he talked about that they may be looking to put him on IR. They're looking at some of the roster moves that they have to make. But most likely, you're going to see Tank go on the short-term IR where he misses at least 4 weeks. Huge blow to the Cowboys. Huge blow to the Cowboys with Tank. What he brings, and I know it sounds crazy, but he is probably one of the best run defenders on that defensive front. I know you're probably saying, well, he didn't do too good of a job the way they got run on the last couple of weeks. I get it. I hear you. And then there's Micah. Right now, they're diagnosed as a high ankle sprain. And he's somewhere in between 2 to 4 weeks. And Micah's a warrior, right? And so, even after the game, he's, walking out. He's, limping real bad. Doesn't want to put the boot on for whatever reason. Reports today that both Micah and Tank were seen in boots and on the knee scooters, the little scooters you put your leg up on, like you broke your leg or whatever, and they're scooting those around the locker room. So both of them are in boots, both are on knee scooters. Both will not be available for the game against Pittsburgh this week in Pittsburgh. And it sucks for both of them. It sucks for this Cowboys team as a whole. You were already getting belt to tail defensively, and you had those 2 guys. And I told y'all before, they were getting belt to tail. They going to have to go get the switch. They're going to have to go get the switch for the next couple of weeks. Because I look at Pittsburgh and I go, I'm a fan of Mike Tomlin. Mike Tomlin's one of the dudes who kind of keeps it real in this league. Najee Harris and company. We'll get more on that later on this week, but it's going to be a whooping up front. It's going to be. I do not have any faith. Any faith. And Jerry can get on any program he likes. He can get on the radio. He can get on TV. He can get on the internet. He can get on whatever the hell he wants. I have zero faith that anybody on this roster is not going to be able to help the loss of those 2. Mike Zim ain't got enough scheming in his body. Not enough players on this football team that's going to be able to make up that loss. It's going to get ugly. I am convinced. And I know some people are going to say, well, maybe losing Micah and losing Tank, and those may have been some of the guys who were playing a little bit of hero ball and all that kind of good stuff. Maybe the guys that they insert now will be the guys who do exactly what the coach says do, when he says do it, how he says do it, and that's going to be the remedy of it all. It ain't. It ain't. It is not. It ain't. It is not. It's not happening. Because even if the guys they put in there, whoever that might be, Carl Lawson, come on down. Whoever else they're going to pull up the practice squad, come on down. Unless between now and the next couple of weeks, Jerry makes some wheeling and deal. And just for the record, you don't have to put in the chat. You don't have to tweet me this. Don't tell me about Hassan Reddick. You do know why Hassan Reddick is not playing, right? It's not because he's hurt. It's not because he's taking a mental break. It's not like the NBA player who said, I found Jesus, which possibly good, great. Amen. Praise God. I love Jesus. He found Jesus, said, I'm taking away, I'm going to do ministry, not playing basketball. It ain't because of that. It's because he wanted a new contract. When he got traded from the Eagles to the Jets, he wanted a new deal. They didn't give him a new deal. He ain't playing football. So I don't know why y'all magically think that if we trade for him and don't give him a new deal, he's going to play for the Cowboys. Nah, he don't want to play for the Jets. He wants a deal. So the Hassan Reddick is off the table. Stop. You don't have to put it. Don't waste your pretty little fingers putting it in the chat and tweeting it to me. It's not happening. The next defensive player that Jerry gives a contract to will be the name of Micah Parsons. Period. But if for some reason that Jerry goes out and finds some other players, which we looked, right, Tay? We looked beforehand. And listen, the pickings are slim. The pickings are slim. There's a reason why. And this is the thing that we got on Jerry about all offseason. Stop playing around in these free agent streets. You playing around in these free agent streets thinking everybody's just going to fall to you and come to you because you Jerry and because it's the Cowboys. Nah. You got to go out and convince people now. You can't pull a wool over the eyes of players anymore and saying, well, it's the Cowboys and the glitz and glam and we're America's team and we get to play in this big fancy stadium. They don't care about that no more. Don't care about that no more. They care about their bread. That's first and foremost. And what they play at now, it ain't like it used to be. Like it's just not. They'll go wherever if the bread is right. So you got to stop playing these free agent streets thinking people just going to come to you because of who you are and who your team are. There may be some, but you got to go put your money where your mouth is. Don't just talk a good game. Actually put checks behind it. And with those two guys going, I don't know where this defense goes. Like, I don't know who they go to. Great. Mozzie Smith had a great game last week. Played 25 snaps. Probably the best football game he's played in his 21-game career. Probably. Not probably. It was the best game he's played in his career. We need 50 snaps now, Mozzie. Like, that's just what it's going to have to be. And I said this earlier today on one of the other shows that I was doing. Maybe, this is just me throwing things out there in the air. Maybe the Cowboys do what they did the last time Tank Lawrence got hurt. It's when you find out that Micah Parsons actually was a pass rusher. Excuse me. Damarian Overshown on third downs. Step right on up, my brother. You are now our edge pass rusher. Don't know, and you lighter in the butt than Micah. But I love your energy. I love your drive. I love your speed. I love your aggression. If your job is see quarterback, go get quarterback, I think you'll do just fine. But maybe that has to be the approach. That on passing downs, you now deploy Damarian Overshown the same way you did Micah Parsons many years ago. But I find it very difficult that this defense will be able to hold up for the next couple of weeks without these two players. And then now you ask, well, who has to step up? Where do you get the productivity from now? I think your best defense going forward is your offense. And I'm not one that wants to put and pile all the pressure on the quarterback because he makes $60 million. But I do believe that football is an absolute team sport. But within that dynamic, I also believe that a head coach should be able to give you 1 or 2 wins a year. Purely on how they called the game, managed the game, did all the little things. You'd be like, man, that was a coaching, just a well done execution job of coaching. I think a coach should give you 1 or 2 of those games a year. I do. I also think your starting quarterback, if he is the caliber of player that you're talking about being in that upper echelon line, I don't put him in the Patrick Mahomes category. I put Patrick by himself. I will always put Patrick by himself until he shows me otherwise. But if you want to be in that conversation of the Burrows and the Allens and the Herberts and all that kind of stuff, which I think Dak is in that conversation, I need 2 to 3 games from you. That when you go back and you look on, man, how did the Cowboys win this game? It's because Dak played lights out. You're now, for the next couple of weeks, at least until you get Micah back, because he's the one that's probably going to be able to get back on the field the fastest. Dak, you got to be Superman. And I say it with such confidence, but I say it also with a level of trepidation, because I want you to be the right Superman. I want you to know when is the right time to loosen up the tie and unbutton the shirt. Because I don't want you pressing. Like, I don't want you thinking that you have to make it, because this offense already has been like a strain. I want you to be able to pick and choose when I'm Superman. But you're going to have to be Superman. You, CD, Ferg, Tolbert, Cooks, where are you? Like, that's the only way that your team is going to prosper. Because I don't see this defense. I don't see this defense being able to stop anybody. You are already struggling with these 2 playmakers on the field. Now they're both off. And there's nobody else. So, like, a DB can't take over a game. Like, they can make plays, but what did I say last week about if I don't have to watch the Giants game, I needed to see one stat. If I saw that one stat, I knew who won the game. And that one stat for me, for the Giants, was passing attempts for Daniel Jones. If Daniel Jones had passed the ball more than 17 times, 15 to 17 times, I would have known the Cowboys won. Didn't have to watch the game. Same thing applies this week. Whoever plays, Justin Fields or Russell Wilson, I don't have to watch a minute of the game. Don't have to listen to it. Don't have to watch it. Don't have to see the chronological order come up on the internet. If I look up and Justin Fields has passed the ball more than 17 times, the Cowboys probably won the game. With those 2 guys out, and for what this defense has already been with them in it, if Justin Fields passed the balls more than 17 times, the Cowboys win the game. Najee Harris, who else? Who else are the other running backs on? I'm going to look it up right now. Who is it? Jaylen Warren? Huh? Warren. Oh, Warren? If Najee Harris doesn't throw up, like literally, legitimately, if he doesn't throw up from all the rushing that he gets. Oh, Cordell Patterson. I like Cordell. He's a receiver, but he plays, You're to me, I'll get into the Pittsburgh stuff later. I'll get into that later. But Dak, you have to take over. That's it. Like, that's it. I don't know. I know it's a team game. And is it unfair? Probably. But life isn't fair. And when you're this is when it comes to that time when you talk about when they're paying you $60 million. It's for moments like this. It's for moments where we're looking for someone to help elevate us over the top. Now, that doesn't mean you have to go out there and have 450 yards. It might mean that. But what it means is you have to be so efficient and so effective. That might look like 250 yards and 3 touchdowns. But the throws have to be where they're supposed to be in the moments where they need it. Because if you leave this game and you win this game 21-20 and you got 250 yards passing, you were 23 of 27 for 3 touchdowns. That's you putting the team on your back and getting, because these are the games where I don't care about style points. When you're down this bad, all I care about is victories. I just care about getting in the win column, whether it's Pittsburgh or the Lions, and then you go into the bye. Now, you want to go into the bye and say, you know what, we're 3-3. Hey, it'll be great to be 4-2. But if you can defeat the Lions and you can defeat Pittsburgh, like, that looks great for you. Heading into the bye, you'll get some guys back. Maybe Deron will be coming back. Maybe Mike will be coming back after the bye. But this game is one where when you're saying who needs to step up, 4. And I love sometimes someone hit me up on Twitter. There was like, yeah, next man up, and the next guy needs to step up and do da-da-da-da-da-da. I said, let me tell you how this really goes in the locker room. And you can go read. I'll pull Jordan Lewis's. I'm gonna pull his tweet up. He had a comment that he made. Today. Where is it at? Here we go. And I love Jordan Lewis. You're one of my favorite guys. I love you, Detroit. I love you. You're a real dude. It says Jordan Lewis on the absence of Micah Parsons and DeMarcus Lawrence. Those guys are the motor. They make things go, especially when you got guys that can make plays like that. And as contagious as they play, it is definitely hard. We're going to have to find ways to supplement that because there's no way you can replace it. We just got to go out there and find ways to attack offenses without those guys. So look forward to it. Okay, translation. F. We're screwed. That's what that means. They know defensively, man, it's going to be hard as hell to go out here and to be able to produce anything defensively when no two dudes are not here. And they've already been struggling. They've already been down bad trying to stop anybody on the football field. Your best defense going forward will be your offense. Mount up, Dak. This one's on you, my boy. If you can make a play here and there, great. But if you can't, this one falls squarely on the shoulders of Dak and Mike McCarthy. Y'all got to put together a game plan that is absolutely phenomenal. Good luck, gentlemen. It is on you. All right, man, let me move around the National Football League, just kind of go over some scores, and we'll just kind of breathe through this thing. Saints lost to the Falcons. It feels like the Saints, after y'all beat the Cowboys, y'all forgot how to play football. You beat the Cowboys. I think they lost 2 games in a row after that. Y'all just forgot how to play football. Falcons beat them on a last-second Young Ho Koo 58-yard field goal. Bears win. They beat the Rams, come back and beat the Rams. Caleb Williams. Nah, he's not playing. Caleb, you're going to be all right, my boy. Stick to it. The Minnesota Vikings, 4-0. Take out the Green Bay Packers. Steelers, Colts. Colts win. Oh, boy, Joe Flacco comes off the couch again. Anthony Richards gets hurt with a hip injury. Joe Flacco comes in, leads them to victory. I'm telling you, we are about to pack Anthony Richardson up. I'm telling y'all. Anthony Richardson, like, I wasn't high on him coming out. I know that he could throw the ball a country mile, but we're close. The Broncos take out the Jets 10-9. They're going to get real smoky in there. The Bucks whoop. C.J. Gardner-Johnson, you got to stop talking, my guy. You have to stop talking. You're not good at football. You're not. You've had a good run, bro, my boy, but you got to stop. 33-16, the Bucks beat the Eagles. Bengals beat the Panthers. Oh, pull a little tink. in in Carolina. That's just a bad football team. The Texans move to 3-1. They defeat the Jags. The Patriots lose to the Niners, who don't have anybody. They're just still chugging along. That's just a good franchise right there. The Niners, Debo's hurt, and McCaffrey's hurt, and Brandon Ayuk won't put on the same color shorts. Funny quick story. When I was with Dallas, Roy Williams did the same thing. And at first I was like, it's just shorts. But it made sense. If everybody else has on one color shorts, and it's a reason, you went out of your way to put on those different color shorts, Brandon Ayuk. You went out of your way. I know how NFL boards go when you walk in. They tell you what the uniform is for the day. Helmets and shoulder pads, shells, all that kind of stuff. You went out of your way to make trouble. Because you can't tell me everybody had on the same color shorts except you. Like, that's just being an a-hole. You're creating problems for yourself that do not need to be created, and it's a bad look, my boy. That's Roy Williams did the same thing. He came outside and he had these white shorts on, and nobody else had white shorts on. We all had blue shorts on. But Roy wanted to be different. Roy wore number 2 in practice, didn't wear number 11, and that's fine, whatever number you want. But the short part, I looked at Jason Gann. I was like, well, coach, maybe you're being a little bit, but nah. Don't do that. Raiders beat the Browns. Start packing those Browns up, okay? Start getting your boxes ready, your tape out. We're packing those guys up pretty soon. Chiefs just keep finding a way. They just keep finding a way to win. Ravens put a whooping on the Buffalo Bills, 35-10. They're finding their way again. They're getting back in there, but I purposely skipped over a game. And here's why I did it. The Commanders. The Washington Commanders. Under the coaching of one Dan Quinn, under the quarterbacking of rookie Jayden Daniels, they go and they whoop up on the Arizona Cardinals 42-10. And I want to stay right there for a second. Because as the Jayden Daniels train is starting to catch traction, I'm going to tell you, for me, I'm always going to be a little bit hesitant of the athlete playing quarterback. I just am. I don't mind the quarterback who's athletic, but the athlete playing quarterback, it's the receiver in me that would never let me just believe in those guys. And I must say, the Jayden Daniels train is getting my attention. Listen to what he's done in the first 4 weeks of football. Week 1 versus Tampa. Started off kind of slow. 17 of 24 for 184 yards, no touchdowns, no interceptions. Week 2 versus the Giants. 23 of 25, I think that is. 226 yards, no interceptions, no touchdowns. Then he started picking it up. Big time game against the Bengals. Jayden Daniels. He went 21 of 23, 254 yards, 2 touchdowns, no interceptions, 1 touchdown rushing. And then last week against Arizona, 26 of 30 for 233, 1 touchdown, 1 interception, and 1 rushing touchdowns. In the month of September, he has a 82% completion percentage. That is the highest in NFL history over a 4-game span. History. Not of the Commanders, not of the NFC East, not of the NFC, and the entire NFL. Not just rookies either. Ever. He's playing some good football. And on top of that, in 4 games, he's averaging 54 yards rushing. So he's giving you roughly around 230 yards passing, and he's giving you 54 yards rushing. So a grand total just under 300 of total yards of offense. The Jayden Daniels train is starting to pick up a little bit of steam. I think this kid has something. We'll monitor it. We'll watch it. But he's doing some really, 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 really good things. I do. I like this kid. And I like the way that Cliff Kingsbury is approaching this. Now, here's the thing about Cliff Kingsbury. There are some people who are really good coordinators. That's what they do. That's who they are. That's just where the realm that they should stay in. But there are some who dabble into the coordinating, head coaching things, and then they lose the attention to details. Because when you take on a head coaching job, there's a lot that comes with that. There's personnel meetings. There's injury meetings. You got to do press conferences, and you got to speak on the radio, and you got to kiss babies and shake hands and do all that kind of stuff. And so you kind of lose the opportunity to be fully engaged and immersed into the OC part of it. I think when Cliff Kingsbury gets a chance to just be an OC, when he gets a chance to just focus on getting his quarterback right. I mean, of course, Tay, you love him so much because he hooked your boy up, right? I don't know if he was an enabler for Johnny. He was an enabler for Johnny. As long as Johnny played good, he didn't care what the hell Johnny did. But Cliff has taken over the role of grooming and getting Jayden Daniels right. And he's off to a good start. And maybe that's where Cliff Kingsbury's, maybe that's where his niche is. Just stick to being an OC. Don't have head coach aspirations. Don't look to want to do things in the head coaching realm. Just be a really good coordinator. Just dominate being a coordinator and getting your quarterback right. Right now, Jayden Daniels is leading his team, and it's an interesting dynamic of what they have going on. So, how to Jayden Daniels, the Washington Commanders, Dan Quinn, DQ. I like DQ. He's a Jersey guy. I always love the Jersey guys, and what they're doing there. Moving down to Tampa. Is Baker another one of Cliff guys? Was Baker a Cliff guy? No? Maybe?
Baker was at Tech. Let me triple check.
But then he was at Oklahoma too. Could have been a Cliff guy at Oklahoma too. But Baker Mayfield. No. Okay.
Houston Cougars, Aggies, Texas Tech. Texas Tech.
Oh no, I'm thinking.
Then Arizona, then USC, then Washington.
Oh, that's where he saw Caleb at, right? It was in USC? Yeah. Okay. With Baker, man, here's my thing with Baker Mayfield. I think Baker sometimes talks too much. I think sometimes Baker, I just think he talks too much. I do. I think Baker, he had Baker at Tech? Okay. So the tree, the Cliff Kingsbury tree. And Baker does it again. Baker, who's doing well in Tampa. But sometimes, man, you just don't talk about the GOAT. Like, y'all don't even compare. Like, sometimes you gotta just say next question. Like, you don't always have to answer every question. You don't always have to. And I know people are gonna say Baker says it's taken out of context, but he appeared on the Casa de Club, the Corey Kluber podcast a week ago, and Baker Mayfield took a little bit of jab at the GOAT, Tom Brady. And he talked about his being now in the building after Tom exit. And this is what Baker had to say, and I quote, "The building was a little different with Tom in there," Mayfield said. "Obviously, playing-wise, Tom is different. He had everybody dialed in, high-strung environment. And so I think everybody was pretty stressed out. They wanted me to come in and be myself, bring joy, back to football for guys who weren't having as much fun." From Baker Mayfield, in quotes. They wanted me to come in and be myself and bring the joy back to playing football. Well, when you come from the GOAT, you best not miss. Because Tom Brady, who was covering the game that Baker Mayfield was playing in, Kevin Burkhardt brought the comment up to Tom Brady, and Tom Brady had to say this. Tom Brady said, when discussing the situation in the Sunday broadcast, Brady said, "I thought stressful was not having Super Bowl rings." When you come for the GOAT, you best not miss. Tom Brady said, "I thought stressful was not having Super Bowl rings." So there was a mindset of champions that I took to work every day. This wasn't a daycare. If I was going to have fun, I'd go to Disneyland with my kids. There's a way to approach this game. It's with the right mindset to try to push each other outside of our comfort zone. And great teammates do that. You come and I have someone like Rob Gronkowski. I have someone like Mike Evans. There are high expectations for us. We got to make sure we go out there and deliver. Close quotes. I thought stressful was not having Super Bowl rings. Last time I checked, Tom Brady, 7 of them things. 7. In the Bible, it's the number of completion. Just want to put that out there. 7. Last I checked, Baker Mayfield has 7 minus 7. None. Baker, you don't have any. You don't have any Super Bowl rings at all. And so when you talk about making football fun again, winning is fun. Winning is really fun. Winning championships is really, really, really fun. And so I don't know how you're bringing that much joy back into football when you're not a Super Bowl favorite. Now, you're playing some good football, but winning Super Bowls are far more fun. And to get to that level, there needs to be, because maybe this might be a little bit harsh, because sometimes you need to be around Super Bowl winning people to understand what it takes to win a Super Bowl. And once you get a taste of that, your standards will change too. I think you're all about vibes. You vibe. Oh, is the vibe good? If the vibe's good, I'm good. The vibe doesn't win championships. The vibe doesn't get you 7 rings. You need to be a little bit uncomfortable. There needs to be a little bit level of stress. Because you shouldn't feel like you can just come to work and it be all vibes. And everything's okay. Not to bring them into it, but I think that's the Cowboys' way of doing things. Is the vibes good? We vibing. There's no standard. There's no accountability. There's no stress. It's just vibes. Y'all just out here vibing. And you coming up short. That's why Tom was able to come down here and in a single season take this team from nothing to hoisting a Lombardi. If anything, what you should be doing, Baker, is you should be tapping into the GOAT and saying, what did you do? How did you elevate these guys? Because a lot of the guys that he have around, that you have around you now, he had around him too. So what did he do with those guys? How did he get out of the same guys that you got that you're not being able to get out of? That's what you should be doing. Less talking about vibes and fun and joy around football and more of how did you do it, GOAT? Just my opinion. Just my thoughts. The Kansas City Chiefs lose their starting receiver, Rashee Rice, potentially with a season-ending ACL injury. Don't know how much you believe in karma or football gods. A lot of folks didn't want Rashee Rice to play this season because what he did. If you don't know what Rashee Rice just did, one, you can Google it, but two, I'll briefly tell you about it. Rashee Rice and a couple of his buddies, they rented out some really, really fast cars, and they were going all up and down the highway in Dallas, Texas, and everything like that, and got into an accident at high speeds, and then left the scene. How many people got hurt in that one? There was some babies in there, some people in there. Like it could have got really, really, really ugly. High speed, in and out of lanes, and he left the scene of the crime. So some folks wanted him suspended for the year. Football gods and Patrick Mahomes took care of it. He's out for the year right now. Potentially would be probably, I should say out for the year. They're still doing tests, but Andy Reid after the game said it doesn't look good. Probably going to be ACL. And it's odd because Patrick Mahomes threw the interception and returned it and was trying to make a tackle and dove into the ground and caught Rashee Rice's knee. And done deal. Hope he gets better. I do want him to still play football. I do want him to have to pay for the things that he did. But nonetheless. But what you're getting ready to see in Kansas City Chiefs, which I kind of love and appreciate, they're going to trade for somebody. It might be the guy the Cowboys let it get away for a fourth round pick. What did they give Amari Cooper? 5th round pick? Yeah, whatever it was. But the Browns just made Amari Cooper's salary a lot more manageable. They turned all of his salary into a signing bonus. So if you wanted to sign Amari Cooper, if you wanted to trade for Amari Cooper right now, it would probably cost against your cap less than $1 million. I can probably see the Chiefs going to acquire Amari Cooper for Patrick Mahomes. That's just how they do. They have a need, they address it. How can we get better? We lost our receiver. Oh, okay, let's go get another one. Oh, Isaiah Pacheco, he's going to be out for a little while. Kareem Hunt, come on, buddy. Just what they do. They go and get plays. Like the all-in type thing, like they're really serious about going to get a three-peat. We'll see. I do want to take a look at the NFC. After 4 weeks, the NFC, it looks different. I don't know what you guys may have had on your NFC bingo cards coming into this year, but just what you thought the NFC was going to be. You probably thought to yourself, the NFC East, where the Cowboys lie, will probably be led by either Philadelphia or the Cowboys, right? Maybe one of those, two of those teams. The NFC North, you probably thought to yourself, boy, the way that Green Bay came on last year, what Detroit was last year, those two guys will probably be leading the NFC North. The NFC South, you probably thought to yourself, boy, Atlanta has a chance. And then the way the year started, you thought, boy, the New Orleans Saints, they're probably going to lead the NFC South. But then in the NFC West, you probably thought the Boombox Boys, the Niners, the Rams, those are going to be your NFC West leaders. That thing look different. After 4 weeks, you can kind of break it down into quarters. After 4 weeks, here's what it looks like. The East right now is being led by the Commanders at a 3-1 record. The North, it's not Detroit. It's not Green Bay. It is your undefeated Minnesota Vikings. Brian Flores, he's working his way back into that head coaching conversation. In the South, I know I just talked bad about him, but he playing good football. In the South, Tampa Bay is leading the South right now to 3-1 record. And in the West, it's not the Boombox Boys. It's not the Niners. It's not F them picks. Les Snead and the Rams. It is your 3-0 Seattle Seahawks. All teams that I would, if I asked you at the beginning of the year, I don't think you would have given me that answer. I don't think you would have given me that answer. The North, I mean, you most definitely wouldn't have said Green Bay. You would have said Sam, I'm sorry. I'm sorry. No, you wouldn't have said Minnesota. Excuse me. You wouldn't have said Minnesota. You would have said Sam Darnold over what? Jared Goff? Over Jordan Love? Nah. The East, you would have said the Washington Commanders would be leading the East after 4 weeks? No way. Rookie quarterback? Feel how you feel about Dan Quinn, Cliff Kingsbury? Nope. Anybody been a 50-50 split in the South? Some may have said Tampa. Some may have said New Orleans. Some may have said Atlanta. And for sure in the West, you would have said the Niners. Hands down. Now, all of this can change. A long season. All of this can change. But after 4 weeks, the NFC looks mighty, mighty different. And my question to you, leave it in the chat. Hit me up on Twitter at Mr. Fourth and Long. Out of these 4 teams that are leading the divisions right now, who do you think is the real deal? Do you think the Commanders, I'll say for the NFC East, no one has repeated as division champions in 20 years. So history says the Cowboys aren't going to win the division. That's just what history says. Do you feel like the Commanders will be able to sustain this level of greatness through the duration of the year? Because even right now, they got me questioning. I said that coming into the year, the Cowboys, they sweep the Giants, they sweep the Commanders, they split with Philadelphia, like how it's been for the last couple of years. Don't know if I already believe that as of today. Who do you say is the real deal? Put it in chat. Hit me up at Mr. Fourth and Long. Out of these 4 current division leaders, Seattle, Tampa Bay, Minnesota, Washington, who do you feel at the end of this all will be legit? I gave you Jayden Daniels stats earlier. Sam Darnold, sometimes coaching matters. Sometimes coaching actually matters. Baker Mayfield, while he might talk too much, he's backing it up. He's backing it up. Got that team playing well, some good football right now. And Seattle's just an steady football team. They just continue. Nothing wows you, right? They have nothing that's like super exciting. Geno Smith is an okay quarterback, above average quarterback. He's not in the top 10 conversation. DK Metcalf is a really good receiver. Kenneth Walker's a good back. Like, they don't have anything that kind of, Tariq Woolen's a good DB. Like, they don't have anything that just overwhelms you with greatness. But they just continue to put together good football teams, and they go out there and compete every week. So I'm going to be interesting. I'll do this again at the end of 8 weeks. and see what the NFC looks like. But as of right now, these are your division leaders. The Washington Commanders, the Minnesota Vikings, the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, and the Seattle Seahawks. All right, that's around the NFL for me. Head on over to the NBA. Make sure you like and subscribe. Do all those great things that you do. A little bit of a sad moment. We mourn the loss of an NBA great. The voice is recognizable. We remember the finger wave. We'll never forget that. People still do that. No. You remember the iconic conversation between he and Michael Jordan as they're getting ready for the All-Star game. And they're talking, and there's Patrick Ewing over there. And he's like, oh, Mike, you never dunked on me. You never dunked on me. And Patrick's like, he ain't dunked on you. He's telling Patrick Ewing, no. He and Patrick Ewing were teammates at that Georgetown. Was that Georgetown? Yeah, I think it was Georgetown. Or he was either after Patrick Ewing and them. Then later on in that season, when he was playing for the Nuggets, Michael got him, went baseline, dunked on him. As Michael was going back down the court, he gave him the finger wave. Sad that the NBA and the world has lost Dikembe Mutombo. Died at 58 years old of a brain tumor. 58 years old. He was one of the global ambassadors for the NBA, all the work that he's done in Africa, bringing and growing the game in Africa. He was born in Cameroon. And it's just, it's a reminder to me as someone, and here's a statement from Adam Silver, the commissioner. He says, Mutombo was larger than life. He says, on the court, he was one of the greatest shot blockers and defensive players in NBA history. Off the floor, he poured his heart and soul into helping others. Nobody was more qualified than Dikembe to serve as the NBA's first global ambassador. He was a humanitarian at his core. He loved what the game of basketball could do to make a positive impact on communities, especially in his native Democratic Republic of Congo. He was born in Congo, and across the continent of Africa. I had the privilege of traveling the world with Dikembe and seeing firsthand how generosity and compassion uplifted people. He was always accessible at the NBA events over the years with an infectious smile, a deep booming voice, and his signature finger wave endeared him to basketball fans of every generation. It's a loss for the NBA, but it's a reminder for me. And I hope it's a reminder for you. This life is short. As a 40 and a half year old, you think you have this long life to live. But you're reminded often that you don't know when it ends. And you're reminded often that someone at 58 years old is gone. I send a text out every Monday to a group of friends of mine. We do this saving. We save money every single year. And you send out the dollar amount for the week of the year. And then it ends up being like, $1,500 to $1,800. And I put mine towards my charity, Holley's Up at Hands. But today was 40. Today was the 40th week of the year. And you look up and you realize we have 12 more weeks left in this year. And time goes by so fast, especially the older that you get. So I just, hug your loved ones. Live life. Don't just exist. Don't just be around. Like, really and truly live life. My thoughts and prayers go to the Mutombo family, his children, his family, his friends, all that knew him. Tough loss to the NBA. One big trade happened in the NBA. the New York Knicks and the Minnesota Timberwolves, and by way, the third team will be, I think, the Hornets. They'll do a 3-team trade. But right now, the Knicks get Karl-Anthony Towns, and the Wolves get Julius Randle, Dante DiVincenzo, and a protected first-round pick. I don't know. I mean, I get the trade. I think the trade makes sense for both teams. You saw last year that the Wolves couldn't put out there on the field 2 7-footers, right? Trying to play Rudy Gobert and trying to play Anthony Towns alongside Anthony Edwards. It just didn't work. It just didn't work for their team, for the flow. I thought they probably should have gotten rid of Rudy, but maybe that may be some contractual things in there. People might want to take on that contract. But the New York Knicks get a guy, Karl-Anthony Towns, who's 19-9. I just hope and pray for Karl-Anthony Towns' sake. He's not soft. Like New York, he's a Jersey guy, so you know I love my Jersey guys. But just Karl-Anthony Towns on the surface just doesn't seem like a dude who can take on that New York critique, that New York ruggedness. Like you start that soft stuff if you want to. They're going to destroy you in New York. But I hope all the best for Karl-Anthony Towns. And then Julius Randle and Dante DiVincenzo, they head over to the Wolves, give them some depth. I think DiVincenzo's a guy who can guard the perimeter, can hit down big shots, 3-and-D type of guy, can give you DiVincenzo 17-4, Randle 24-9 and 5. So I think the trade works for everybody. I think the Wolves will ultimately win this trade if there's a winner and a loser. My next concern is because Julius Randle is kind of a guy who needs the ball. Like I think he's a guy who like his really ball dominant. How that dynamic is going to work with Anthony Edwards, that's for those guys to figure out. The bright lights of New York City for Karl-Anthony Towns is going to be interesting. It's going to be very, very interesting. So we'll see about that. Media Day opened up today in the NBA. A lot of players are back. We're waiting for Jimmy Butler has the emo picture. We don't see what he's going to do this year. You saw Klay Thompson. You saw Headband Klay early on. Headband Klay early on for the Mavs. Why do you make that face? Tell you don't believe in Klay for the Mavs?
Of course I do. I was just saying.
I know, but that don't mean you believe. You were there. You were obligated to be there for work. That didn't mean you were there because you believe in Klay. I was just there. Duh. You wasn't there because you was like, I'm there for Klay. Chris Paul will be in San Antonio. Yeah, I think it's a solid pickup. I like Chris Paul in San Antonio.
The Mavs don't have that historical. People pass on them in free agency always, right? And they finally got someone that.
Probably a couple of years too late, but that's neither here nor there.
But it's still go hit some threes in the corner. Right?
Yeah. First look at Big LeBron and Little LeBron and Lakers uniform. Might be the only time you see it this year. But I say I like Chris Paul in San Antonio. I do. I like that look. I think he's going to does really well for Wemby, setting him up for a lot. There's going to be issues, man. You know the NBA is my favorite sport. Basketball is my favorite sport.
Is it college
Huh?
basketball? Do you like college basketball?
No, I like NBA basketball. I love college basketball too, but NBA I love NBA basketball. That is my favorite. So I look forward to that. All right, and we'll finish this show with a little bit of college football. Y'all know I was bringing them back. Y'all know I want to talk about Coach Prime. I know I want to leave Colorado out of there. Listen, do you believe? I believe. Do you believe now? I believe. Before I talk about Colorado, shout out to Ryan Williams, the 17-year-old kid. And for all you, because I know that there are a bunch of males, male college football fans out there. I know this is happening. If you're a dad of a 16, 17, or 18-year-old, don't be this dad. Don't be a dad of a 16, 17, 18-year-old who's a college football fan and go to your son and be like, hey, you see this kid, Ryan Williams? He's doing all this at 17 years old, and you can't even wash the dishes and keep your room clean. You won't even don't do that. Don't do that. Don't do that. It's your fault that your 17-year-old son don't have Ryan Williams genes. You know that, right? It's your fault. It's your fault that he has 2 left feet, Dad. It's your fault that he has bad eye-hand coordination. So before you go in that room and you belittle this kid because he wants to play Pokemon Go or because he likes anime and he wants to co-play or whatever it is, before you go and bother that 17-year-old kid that you have or that 16-year-old kid and say, you see the 17-year-old kid, what is he doing in the SEC against Georgia, one of the top programs in the world? Just know your son is pigeon-toed and bow-legged because of you. You didn't play catch with him enough. It's your fault. So don't go down in that room bothering that boy. Leave that boy alone. Mamas, y'all the same. Don't go mess with them kids. I'm like, y'all see what this kid is doing. But I know there's some dads out there that saw Ryan Wilson. They say he's 17 years old. You say, I got a 17-year-old, and he won't even mow the grass. Your fault. It's your fault. You should have been more athletic. I won't bother those kids, man. Leave those kids alone, man. Ryan Williams, 6 catches, 177 yards, and a touchdown. And Alabama almost blew the game. Well, it was a blowout. It was a close game. And then he made some catches in that game that, I mean, I was wild. I was wild at that kid. He's going to be – and there's another kid at Florida State – at Ohio State. Another 17-year-old kid. I will say this. For the same dads who are going down there bothering their sons and all like that, if you have a son or daughter and you have hopes, dreams, and aspirations of those playing high-level college football and potentially high-level basketball in the pros or in college, if your kids are in the 8th grade-ish and they're not getting private one-on-one training, you're falling behind. I'm just telling y'all, it ain't the days of when you and I were growing up, Dad. Those days are done. When you go to the park and you just play, you got to find those jokers some trainers. And not the ones that had those kids out there doing some herky-jerky that don't translate to football, but you got to have these kids training. One-on-one training is at an all-time high. And I'm also an advocate of, yes, he's 18. Okay, he's 18. Well, he's still young. It's 18, 17, and 18. Jeremiah Smith at Ohio State. But get these kids some training. Let them play multiple sports. Just saying. I'm just saying. Some of your greatest athletes of all time played more than just that one sport. And then, of course, I got to end with my Buffs. I'm an honorary Colorado, a Buffalo. Colorado went down to the sweltering heat. Tampa. It's Orlando, excuse me. Orlando, that's right, Orlando. And beat UCF 48-21. Do you believe? No, I believe. And you know who hates Deion? It's so funny. Paul Fonbon hates Deion. And it even, I watched him give him credit today, and it hurt him to the core. Like, it hurt. His face was all scrunched. Like, he didn't want to give Deion any credit. But let's pack up the Heisman. I know it's early. Let's pack it up, y'all. Let's pack this thing up. Let's pack it up. There is not a better player in the country than Travis Hunter. Not one. Dude is playing between 120 and 130 snaps per game. They got Cam Ward.
Jayden plus 225. Cam Ward plus 600. Then Travis Hunter plus, so he's third right.
there's not a better player. Like, Travis Hunter could win the Thorpe Award for the best DB in the country. He could win the Biletnikoff Award for the best receiver in the country, and he should win the Heisman. Like, you have not seen, like, I was around for Chris Gamble. Like, that was my era. Chris Gamble at Ohio State. I was a little bit younger for Charles Woodson. You have not seen a player. And, like, even both of those guys, they were, like, dabbling, like, here and there. This young gonna come, like, the only time he comes off the field is for, like, kickoff and kickoff return. That's it. Punt return. If he probably can go and catch punts. I'm sure he could. If we're talking about the best player in college football, and you're not saying Travis Hunter, I don't know. I think Colorado will win probably around 7-8 games this year. There'll be a bowl. They're going to the bowl. But if Travis Hunter did one, like, he had that interception where he was like in zone, backed off, and then took 10. I mean, it's not a better player in the country than Travis Hunter. It isn't. It is not. And if you're being honest with yourself, shout out to Jalen Milrose. Listen, shout out to you, my brother. Cam, I get it. The quarterbacks always get all the love because they touch the ball every single. There's not a better player in the country than Travis Hunter. Period. And I mean, I don't see how you cannot. I don't see how you can't say, like, I don't know. Maybe that's Vegas trying to get the money rolling one way or another, but there isn't a better player in the country.
You're presenting a good case to bet on Hunter because the odds are better.
Yeah, if you got a couple dollars, I don't bet, I don't gamble. But if you got a couple dollars, go put it on Travis. And I love the fact that Deion consistently says, he goes, who better than me as a coach understands what Travis wants to do, is trying to do, damn it, is doing better than Deion? Nobody. A guy who dabbled in playing both ways. A guy who dabbled in playing in damn 2 professional sports. He played baseball and football in the major leagues and in the NFL. And I do appreciate that about Deion, because I believe that if Travis Hunter was anywhere else, he would not be given this opportunity to do so. I think he may be given an opportunity to kind of go and dabble maybe a little in there, but to be full-time both ways, I don't think so. I think Deion is the perfect coach for Travis Hunter, who understands his uniqueness and his talent and lets him thrive and flourish in it. But if he is not your Heisman front runner right now, and when he did the Heisman, when he got that interception and he ran back to the end zone and he said, I was like, ooh, that's nice. Like, he did it. Like, he like waited for a minute. And like, I like the flair for the theatrics to understand the moment and the environment and then wait for it and then boom. That's nice. All right, man, that's it for me. Remember, limit the folks you talking to and limit the folks you telling your business to. Everybody ain't clapping for you. Everybody don't want to hear the good stuff that happened in your life for your own mentals and dentals. All right, man, I'm out of here. Until next time, remember, eliminate the contingencies. I'm out.